Hello everybody, welcome to Snyder's Inc. and now it's time for part 2, which will be from 30 to 15 in the top 55 unsolved mysteries, leaving viewers astonished. We're going to get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, the like button, subscribe button, comment, thing down below. Let's go.
Who is Ori Chef? Across the internet, a number of strange and puzzling social media accounts have emerged from time to time. While some are part of ARGs or immersive web series, others are more enigmatic. An account named Ori Chef on Facebook stands out. Ori Chef first came to the internet's attention through a post on the X board of 4chan.
This was when we found out on, was it Nexpo, I believe, taught us about this account? Because we, on his disturbing things from around the internet? I believe so, yeah, I believe it's him. It might not have been, though. I can't fully say. I know there's a few videos we reacted to that talks about this.
Poster stumbled upon a comment by Ori on a news article posted to Facebook, which ultimately led them to Ori's profile. Curiously, all the accounts linked as her friends had eerily similar profile pictures with varying facial features. The strangeness didn't end there. The posts made by these profiles were macabre images that hinted at child murder. The big question remained, who was Ori Chef? Ori was initially suspected of creating multiple accounts for gaming purposes. However, the more recent resurgence of interest in her profile has indicated there might be more to it. Between unsettling wall posts, typical selfies, and baffling photo edits, Ori's activity has rekindled the internet's fascination. A particularly haunting post talks about Daphne, a woman who supposedly committed. However, some users have pointed out similarities to the infamous Jeff the Killer creepypasta as evidence that this story is concocted. Ori's multimedia posts seem to be sourced from horror movies and real-life graphic images, leaving viewers to question the intentions behind her posts. Is she truly disturbed, or is this a masterclass in attention-seeking? Delving deeper, there's evidence to suggest Ori might be doing all this for the limelight. The animal gore she shares likely portrays the cultural norm of killing animals for celebrations in the Philippines. Moreover, comments from her hint at her quest for creepypasta fame. Ori's Facebook antics caught the attention at one point of prominent YouTuber Nexpo, who made a video outlining some of her.
I thought Nexpo was the one I learned it from. Yep. That's what I thought.
Content. This video led to a massive influx of followers for Ori, and riding this wave, it seems she decided to keep the act alive, posting a mix of ordinary life updates and eerie content, thus perpetuating her internet mystery. All in all, Ori Chef seems to be a regular individual from the Philippines who, through unforeseen circumstances, found herself at the center of an internet enigma. She continues to revel in the mystery, providing a blend of the mundane and the macabre to an audience ever eager for answers. While one might criticize the reasons for her unexpected fame, one can't help but admire her dedication to the act.
Agreed.
After all, the internet thrives on unsolved mysteries. Number 29.
I'm more credited also the fact that no one can figure out who she is. That's pretty damn good.
Stephen Kocher.
Man, that's having problems right now. I'll be back in a second. Alrighty, I think my internet's fixed now, so we'll get right into these. Let's get back into it.
Number 29. Stephen Kocher. Stephen Kocher was 30 years old when he vanished in Henderson, Nevada, a city in the Las Vegas Valley, on December 13, 2009. To this day, nearly 14 years later, there has still been no trace of him. Investigators had very little to work with when he was first reported missing. However, they did manage to find CCTV footage of his last known whereabouts. However, instead of shedding light on the situation, his last known movements make his story even more confusing. Stephen was originally from Salt Lake City, Utah. In April 2009, he quit his longtime job, packed his bags, and moved away in what seemed like a spur-of-the-moment decision. He made a new home in St. George, Utah, but was dealing with financial struggles. Those who knew him said he was struggling to find work. He managed to stay afloat for several months by living off of his savings and earning money through handiwork and side hustles, but this income only took him so far. By December of 2009, he was over $1,000 behind on his rent. Stephen once again decided to hit the road and find a place to start over, hoping for better odds this time. On December 12, 2009, Stephen made 2 phone calls to friends from his hometown. They later reported to investigators that Stephen had told them he was going to Las Vegas. As far as they knew, he had no connections in Nevada, and they expressed concern about these plans, especially since Stephen was already completely broke. For several days after this, his family tried to get in touch with him, but all efforts to make contact failed. Although he lived a risky lifestyle, he always made sure to stay in touch with his loved ones back home. His family reached out to police to report Stephen missing, and the investigation began. Stephen's car was found rather quickly, parked on the street in a wealthy neighborhood in Henderson, Nevada. His belongings were found in the car and seemed untouched, which suggested he planned on returning to the car. Another odd detail that spun the investigation in circles was that his trunk was filled to the brim with Christmas presents intended for his family. This detail made it difficult to imagine that Stephen had disappeared on his own accord. It was also difficult to imagine how he could afford so many presents when his loved ones knew about his financial struggles. Detectives wondered if Stephen's finances might be one aspect of the mystery. One theory put forth was that Stephen became involved with drug dealing or other illegal work that afforded him this windfall, but could have also put him at risk.
That is possible. That can't be ruled out. There are people who will do what they have to do to survive and doing drugs and selling drugs, and that is something people have done. They'll do it to survive.
Sometime after Stephen's car was found, security camera footage from the neighborhood was collected. The footage, which is very short, shows Stephen exiting his car and walking down the street before disappearing from sight. He never returned to his car, and no one else was identifiable in the footage. In December 2022, another resident of that same neighborhood came forward to admit that they had seen Stephen before he walked down the street. While they didn't see him exit the car, he apparently knocked on their door, but then immediately crossed the street and continued walking. When the resident answered their door and saw Stephen, he yelled out, "I need some money!" According to the unnamed resident, they just closed the door, assuming Stephen was a street person or addict, which was relatively common in the area. In the days following his disappearance, his cell phone pinged in several different cities a few miles away, but eventually either died or was shut off. Stephen still has not been found. There has been no new evidence in the case, and it is now considered cold now that more than a decade has gone by. However, if you happen to have any information on Stephen, you're encouraged to call Crime Stoppers at 702-385-5555 or at crimestoppersofnv.com/reportacrime. Information can also be sent via text by sending crimes and then your message to crimes 274637. Crime Stoppers offers a reward for information that leads to an arrest. Number 28, you have 30 days to pay me $5 million. 6 years after the launch of YouTube.
Oh, we know about this one due to a Slapped Ham video. Slapped Ham did a video talking about this. I think we did another video talking about this either. I don't remember when, but there was another video that was done here. Slapped Ham definitely talked about this in a video of his. I know this, because there's people who get confused when I bring up other channels. I know this is not a Slapped Ham video, but we heard about this video, you have 20,000 to pay me $5 million thing, on a Slapped Ham video.
In 2011, the internet was set ablaze with intrigue. A video surfaced on the popular website with the alarming title, "You have 30 days to pay me $5 million."
You have 30 days, not 24 hours. You have 30 days to pay $5 million.
In it, a masked figure showcased what they claimed was a groundbreaking find within an Egyptian pyramid. But the suspense didn't end there. The individual wasn't seeking $5 million to unveil this discovery. Instead, they wanted the money to keep it hidden, suggesting the revelation held a truth so profound that certain powers might pay to keep it concealed. It hinted at a secret so significant, the powers that be might be willing to go to great lengths to keep it under wraps. But details were scarce. The enigmatic uploader never identified themselves nor specified who the hefty ransom request was intended for. Instead, viewers were presented with a series of mysterious messages, snippets of a journey to Egypt, and an innovative, remotely operated rover venturing into a supposedly uncharted chamber within the Great Pyramid. But just as things got intriguing, the footage plunged into darkness. The intent and identity of the uploader remained shrouded in mystery. The entire situation seemed reminiscent of an elaborate ransom hoax, albeit one demanding an answer. Curious internet users attempted to decode the $5 million pyramid enigma. While some deemed it a well-crafted troll, others theorized that it might be indicative of the discovery of a long-lost artifact or hidden treasure. Despite relentless efforts, the uploader's identity and the elusive footage's fate remained concealed. After the stipulated 30 days elapsed, with the ransom remaining unpaid, a subsequent video appeared, not on YouTube, but on a mysterious website dubbed NowYouKnow.com. The promised footage was unveiled, but it was, quite frankly, anticlimactic. The ending felt like a letdown to many, but the uploader cryptically shared that they had failed to capture their groundbreaking discovery in the footage. With no further updates from the anonymous internet dweller, one could only wonder if this was part of a broader alternate reality game, ARG. Yet, a recent revelation, a previously unknown cavity within the Great Pyramid, reignited interest in this online riddle. Several theories started to emerge. Some posited that the uploader was an archaeologist seeking unconventional funding. Others felt it was a publicity stunt or even an expose on a clandestine conspiracy. The most tantalizing hypothesis suggested a secret society connected to ancient Egypt, protecting a priceless artifact within the pyramid's newfound cavity. Fast forward to today, and the $5 million pyramid mystery still captivates. Who was behind the video? What truth were they guarding? And what
Slapped Ham had more answers on who this was than this video does.
became of the groundbreaking footage they once threatened to unveil? Perhaps the answer lies on NowYouKnow.com. Although the site has vanished, a reverse email search linked it to Alexander Kalafi, known for his creation of Mouse creepypasta and current ties with Nintendo. While connections to NowYouKnow.com couldn't be solidified, another email led to a forum post from Camino1 discussing successful podcast ideas. One, eerily familiar to dedicated viewers, hinted at a podcast about a clandestine moon mission revealing an alien artifact, echoing themes from the enigmatic YouTube channel Langurness 2021. So, what did this digital breadcrumb trail reveal? That the mastermind behind Now You Know and Langurness 2021 could well be the same puppeteer orchestrating the 2011 pyramid spectacle. So, was it all a hoax? Or did this masked figure really have something worth covering up? Were they eventually paid off and told to make it all go away? Number 27, Brett Orm. 54-year-old Brett
That has always been one that's always made me laugh, because the thing was like, oh, he was never paid. The thing, it's like, we never know he was never paid. I don't know how they obviously could pay it. They gave no information on who it was. But there's no proof that he wasn't paid. There's also no proof that he was. So either was an option.
Orm, from Brisbane, Australia, has only been missing for a few weeks, but the circumstances are mysterious, and his family is desperate to find him. On August 13th of this year, Brett called his son to check in with him. He told his son that he was taking a trip away from home, but didn't clarify where he was going or why. He assured his son that they would see each other soon, but this was the last time anyone from Brett's life heard from him. Surveillance footage from August 11th, 2023 shows Brett loading up his white Nissan Navara and driving away from his home. When no one heard from Brett for several days, his son reported him missing. An investigation found the security footage and released it to the public, and detectives encouraged viewers to study the appearance of the vehicle and keep an eye out for Brett. Witnesses who claimed to have seen the car near Deepwater Bend, a local wetland area with parks and hiking trails, came forward. Various accounts allowed officers to piece together a brief timeline. The car pulled up to a secluded area and remained there for about 3 hours. The driver, who witnesses could not confirm or deny was Brett, returned to the car and left for only a few short minutes before driving back around midnight and being abandoned. The search efforts extended across several counties as investigators and family members sought answers. Brett's family, friends, and co-workers said that disappearing out of the blue was out of character for Brett, as he appeared to be living a happy and healthy life. As the investigation continued, a new piece of evidence was found on August 16th. Brett's damaged phone was found where it had been apparently thrown on the ground near a hiking trail by the Iron Bank Gully. The only evidence that seemed useful in the phone was a selfie that Brett took on August 13th, the day he talked to his son for the last time. While the exact location of the photo could not be determined, it was obviously taken in a forested area, most likely a hiking trail or near a river. The image showed that Brett was apparently happy, and he did not appear to be in any danger. This suggested to investigators that Brett was having a good time, making his disappearance even more strange. On August 19th, Brett's vehicle was finally located and could be searched. Again, it offered no new evidence in the case and seemed to be another dead end. Search parties carried on for days as the area of focus continuously expanded. Teams were sent into the wilderness in case Brett had gotten lost on a hike. Cadaver dogs were also brought in, but failed to find anything of importance. To this day, Brett has still not been found. As the case is fairly new, the search efforts and investigation has not yet been halted. If you have any information, you may contact Queensland Crime Stoppers at 1-800-333-0000. Number 26. 12 mysterious and identical stores open on my street. What could be happening? 4 years ago, a post was made on the r/TooAfraid-to-Ask subreddit from user IcemanThrowaway123 titled, 12 mysterious and identical stores open on my street. What could be happening? Explaining further, IcemanThrowaway123 said, I live just outside a big city and what resembles a convenience stores pop up like many suburbs on my street.
We have heard this one from the one of the series we did. Talk about this.
What could be happening? Explaining further, IcemanThrowaway123 said, I live just outside a big city in what resembles a suburban main street. Like many suburban main streets, retail business has been rough and they've all closed down. After a month of nothingness, suddenly 12, yes, a dozen, identical convenience stores pop up. They look the same, they aim for the same floor plan, they sell the same products at the same prices. The names are all tiny variations off of each other like Town Name Mart or Market of Town Name, and all clearly bought their signs from the same place as the fonts, colors, size, and shapes are identical. These stores see no business that I've ever witnessed yet have large staff numbers and are surviving way longer than the former stores that closed on this street. When I enter one, they all stare at me while I shop. I don't usually get nervous, but it feels like they're staring threateningly rather than intently. They only accept cash unless you pay some $50. Most of their products are Walmart brand great value products being resold for higher prices. Most of the products are expired food products. I bought bread from one without checking because I was in a rush, and it turned out it was 2 months expired. Upon returning to show them, I found that the entire shelf was expired foods. What was even grosser was the dairy cooler, which had ancient milk products. I'm so confused. I feel like I'm in an episode of The Twilight Zone. What's probably happening here? Immediately, users began commenting on the mysterious post, urging the OP to check in with local authorities and questioning whether this was a front for money laundering or if OP was living in some twisted version of The Truman Show. OP spent the next few hours answering questions from concerned Reddit users and making his own theories as to why 12 of the same stores, all with creepy employees and similar layouts, could just pop up. OP even went as far as to ponder whether the town itself had something to do with it when a user told him to just go to the city hall and ask. I'm a bit nervous too. Normally our town has a lengthy public approval process for new stores, but these 12 shops were stood up almost instantly. I know it's cliche, but forgive me as a guy living in a literal Twilight Zone setup when I say, I'm worried they're in on it. After promising to come back the next day with photos of the 12 stores, OP would update his original post a little over 24 hours later to say, stayed late at work and didn't end up going yesterday. Sorry for the swarm of people who did remind me with one day. I'm reading through the comments to determine what to do, if anything at all. Sorry for a less than eventful update, but given how many people were saying I was gonna die, I'm just gonna point out that I'm alive and well. After this update, OP seemingly abandoned the account and to this day has not returned to update his story. Users attempted in vain to message him and even to try and track down his town based on his posting history, but no progress has been made in the last 4 years. The narrative provided immediately brings to mind conspiracy theories such as the infamous theory that mattress firm stores are a money laundering front, hinting that these 12 stores could have been set up for similar reasons. Another
It also could just be that this guy is full of shit and just looked to create a viral story, which he did.
possibility was put forward.
Because because he never wanted to post evidence. For him to just randomly then say about how nervous thing, and then he never post anything, never show these stores, never do anything, that's bizarre.
Forward that these could be fronts for mafia or gang activity, with the employees merely there as a smokescreen. These establishments don't seem to be geared towards attracting customers. If anything, they deter them. OP noted the sale of out-of-date products. While it's not uncommon to sell items slightly past their expiration or best before date, the sale of well out-of-date food poses considerable health and legal risks. Users also picked up on another anomaly, that the items are Walmart branded and priced higher than the norm. Additionally, while smaller establishments sometimes impose a minimum spend for card payments, a $50 minimum is excessive and unusual. Coupled with an off-putting atmosphere, these stores don't seem to prioritize customer retention. Could they be a facade for illicit activities like money laundering or even human trafficking? Although human trafficking is a grave and real issue, its risks arguably make it less likely than money laundering. There's a
But also, if it was money laundering, do you need 12 stores to money laundering in a small town? I doubt it.
theory that the sudden appearance of the stores could be a tactic to outwit the IRS by reflecting similar revenue streams, but this would likely crumble under scrutiny. An alternative theory is food stamp fraud. One commenter described a process where food stamp benefits, which can only be spent on food, are traded for cash through a series of transactions involving fake or cloned EBT cards. These 12 stores may distribute these transactions to avoid raising red flags with the social service organizations. Even if the theory holds, the logistics of operating 12 stores, considering the overhead costs, still raise questions. As with most internet mysteries, it's essential to consider the authenticity of the story. The original poster, despite the protective moniker, was active on the account for months leading up to the main post, but went silent afterwards. Such patterns often leave readers in suspense, wondering if the tale was crafted for intrigue, or if the poster had reasons to abandon the account. Whatever the truth, the story certainly captivates and raises more questions than answers. So until Iceman Throwaway 123 decides to return, this mystery is here to stay. Number 25. Emma Filipoff. 26-year-old Emma Filipoff was living in a women's shelter in Victoria,
We've heard this one a shitload of times.
British Columbia when she was reported missing by her mother. Emma always made sure to remain in contact with her mother and her friends, always contacting them so they knew she was safe. She somehow managed to hide the fact that she was in a shelter, so everyone assumed she was doing well. She had been in and out of the shelter many times between February and November of 2012. Emma talked to her mother a few days before she vanished. She told her mother that she wanted to be picked up. Her mother agreed, but as they were planning out their meeting point, Emma abruptly changed her mind. According to her mother's statement, her tone switched drastically and she seemed deeply upset. She finally confessed to her mother that she had been living in a shelter as well as on the streets. She said to her mom, "I don't know if I can face you." Upon hearing this horrible news, her mother made plans to travel to pick up her daughter as fast as she could. For the rest of that day, she didn't hear from Emma. On November 28th, before they planned to meet, the victim's mother contacted police to report her as missing. Once an investigation was started, officers found a report concerning Emma from around 6 p.m. on the day she went missing. She was seen outside of a nearby hotel. Employees called the police to report her as distressed. She was apparently pacing around the hotel both inside and out. She was crying about something, but couldn't speak clearly enough to express what was wrong. Officers arrived and talked to her for several minutes, during which time she calmed down. There was no reason for an arrest or charge, so the officers told Emma to leave the property and left it at that. During the later investigation, more evidence of what Emma had done that day was found. Just a few hours after the incident at the hotel, CCTV footage showed the young woman buying a $200 prepaid debit card at a local 7-Eleven station store. Many viewers think that in the video, she appears scared and paranoid because she frequently glances out of the window toward the parking lot. She also hung around inside the store for several minutes before actually leaving. According to a taxi driver who saw requests for information about Emma, he picked her up from the station and was going to drive her to the shelter. after. Midway through the trip, she confessed that she didn't have enough money to cover the taxi charges. The driver stopped shortly after and let her out. Even after all these years, this is the only information available about Emma. Sadly, she is still missing. If you have any information, please contact 1-800-222-8477, number 24. The Evil Farming Game. The internet is no stranger to solving mysteries. From long-lost songs to obscure movies, web denizens have a knack for unearthing hidden gems. But the Evil Farming Game remains an unsolved enigma, intriguing and confounding many, with a Reddit post in the subreddit Tip of My Joystick by user Sparta213. All I can remember is that it's kind of like Harvest Moon, but with a dark twist. The game starts out with you and your wife. One night you get into a fight and you end up stabbing her to death. Now the game revolves around you farming to stay alive, while trying to keep the town from finding out about the incident that happened. Every now and then the cops come to search your house and you have to hide her corpse. Their memory, a farming game with a macabre twist. Beyond tending to crops and animals, the game described revolves around a protagonist who, in a fit of rage, murders his wife. The gameplay then shifts, balancing the banal tasks of farming with trying to conceal the evidence of the crime from the town and its nosy police. While vague memories of games are a dime a dozen, this one caught fire. Was it the sinister nature, so antithetical to the typically wholesome farming genre? Before long, others came forward with fragmented memories of a similar game, fanning the flames of the mystery. However, with each account, discrepancies appeared, leaving more questions than answers. The curious aspect of this enigma was the absolute lack of tangible evidence. In an age where games leave digital footprints everywhere,
This game just doesn't exist. This guy made it up in his head.
forums, reviews, screenshots, or videos, this game seemed to defy all logic. No one could procure a title, a developer name, or any gameplay footage. It was as if the game was a specter, haunting collective memories but never manifesting in the physical world. The lack of evidence sparked a myriad of theories. Some proposed it was an example of the Mandela effect, where the masses misremember specific events or details. Perhaps, they mused, no such game existed, and the community was conflating several games or stories into a singular haunting narrative. There was speculation that the narrative surrounding the game was cleverly orchestrated as an advertisement strategy for an upcoming game or film. Others suggested that the initial post by u/Sparta213 might have been an indirect admission of guilt for a real crime. Additionally, there was speculation that the Evil Farming Game could be inspired by genuine events where a farmer killed his spouse. Another more out there theory was that of a temporal anomaly, that the fan-made game in development somehow gets transported back in time, sparking the entire chain of events leading to the game's legend and its subsequent recreation. The legend of the Evil Farming Game grew so potent that developers and hobbyists created their own versions, inspired by the tantalizing scraps of information available. These homages, while not the sought-after original, showcased the power of the narrative, but they also muddied the waters, making the quest for the original even more complicated. In 2021, the mystery was marked as solved after YouTuber Justin Wang presented an elaborate breakdown of the entire scenario with his theory. According to Wang's in-depth analysis, which was corroborated by a detailed post from Redditor PM_me_your_ears, the origins of the Evil Farming Game seem to connect to a video produced by Vinesauce. In this video, there's a discussion about a hypothetical game that mirrors the familiar setting of Harvest Moon. However, a sudden twist occurs midway. Following an intense altercation with the player's in-game spouse, the player unintentionally ends her life. Interestingly, Sparta213, the original poster that set off the whirlwind of online detectives trying to uncover the game, acknowledged the Vinesauce connection. In a statement on Discord, Sparta213 confirmed, "So guys, I just got around to looking at the Vinesauce animated video that someone found, and as anticlimactic as it may be, I believe that this is likely the source of the game. It fits everything exactly." What transpired with the Evil Farming Game seems to exemplify the misinformation effect in psychology, commonly recognized as collective false memory, or the false memory effect. This phenomenon sees individuals or groups recalling events or details differently from how they occurred. In extreme cases, these distorted memories can even become widespread, turning them into cultural landmarks despite their lack of accuracy. Number 23. William Richard Bradford's photos. Sherry Miller, a bright 21-year-old from Culver City, California, had aspirations of glamour and fame. After graduating at the top of her class from Culver City High School, she harbored dreams of gracing magazines.
Wait, this is an actual, like, Murderpedia is an actual thing? No way. Really?
And walking runways as a model. It was these very aspirations, however, that would lead her down a treacherous path. On the fateful evening of July 4th, 1984, Sherry was pulling a busy shift at the Meat Market Bar, situated in the heart of downtown Los Angeles. It was here that she encountered William Bill Bradford. As her conversation with him flowed, Sherry confided her aspirations of becoming a model. Seizing the opportunity, Bradford introduced himself as a professional photographer, offering to take her modeling photographs free of charge. Professional headshots can be expensive, and Sherry jumped at the chance to boost her future career. The chosen location was an isolated desert stretch north of Los Angeles. The seemingly picturesque setting quickly turned sinister when, after a few photographs, Bradford brutally strangled Sherry using her own bootlace. The horror did not end there. After she was dead, Bradford grotesquely mutilated Sherry by undressing her and cutting off her tattoos. A mere 2 days later, a grim discovery was made. Sherry's lifeless body, wrapped carefully in a blanket, was discarded in a nondescript alleyway located behind a carpet store in West Los Angeles. Without any personal belongings or identification at the scene, Sherry's identity remained unknown to authorities, leading them to label her as Jane Doe number 60. The shadow of death loomed large as, shortly after the discovery of Sherry's body, 15-year-old Tracy Campbell vanished without a trace. The teenager was coincidentally Bradford's neighbor, and an investigation was quickly launched. Upon inspecting Bradford's residence, a chilling revelation was made. Among Bradford's possessions, police found multiple photographs of the as-yet unidentified Sherry. This damning evidence, along with other pieces of incriminating material, led to Bradford's arrest. After William Bradford's arrest, police found far more than they bargained for amongst Bradford's possessions. They uncovered a series of photographs, over 50 images of various women in different poses, some suggestive, some innocuous, but all with one thing in common: they were taken by a murderer. The collection comprised a range of portraits. Some of the women looked relaxed, suggesting they were comfortable with Bradford and unaware of his dark side. Others appeared more guarded, even vulnerable. Considering Bradford's crimes, each photograph begged the question, what happened to these women after the shutter clicked? Realizing the potential scope of Bradford's crimes, authorities made the difficult decision to release the photographs to the public in 2006, hoping that the images might lead to identifications or clues about the whereabouts or fates of these women. The community's reaction was a mix of horror, intrigue, and heartbreak. Families of missing individuals scoured the images, praying they wouldn't recognize a face while paradoxically seeking closure. To the relief of many, several women were identified and found to be alive. However, there were others whose stories remain untold, leaving open the horrifying possibility that Bradford's victim count might be much higher than the official record states. During his trial, Bradford took the surprising step of representing himself. Even more shocking, he provided no defense for his actions. His chilling closing remarks left a lasting impression. Think of how many you don't even know about. You are so right. That's it. While on death row in San Quentin, Bradford made the unexpected decision to stop all of his appeals. He even took on legal representation to expedite his own execution. In a twist of irony, he began penning poems, leading the media to dub him the Death Row Poet. From one of his compositions, "Many nights I have dreamed of death greeting me with welcome comfort, tempered with a searing seduction. Within these dreams, I have discovered a private, serene, extreme place which dissolves the last drop of fear. With the day of his execution drawing near..."
That is a bunch of nonsense, what that is.
Just 5 days before the set date, Bradford made a sudden, startling claim of innocence, expressing a desire to stop the impending execution. He was granted a stay while his legal team appealed, but the death penalty was upheld. Despite this, fate had other plans for him. Bradford passed away at San Quentin State Prison in 2008, not by execution, but due to natural causes. The discovery of Bradford's photographic collection offered a disturbing glimpse into the world of a predator. Was this his way of cataloging potential victims? Were the photographs trophies commemorating his sinister interactions? Or was it a hobby independent of his murderous tendencies? William Richard Bradford's conviction brought an end to his reign of terror, but the chilling gallery he left behind is a testament to his disturbing mindset. It remains a haunting reminder of the intricate, often obscured intersections between art, control, and crime. Even in custody, Bradford managed to cast a long shadow through those photographs, a shadow that raises questions that might never be fully answered. If you know or recognize any of the women seen today, please call the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department's Missing Persons Unit at 323-890-5500. Number 22. Mariana's Web. The Mariana Trench is the deepest part of the ocean and has a digital counterpart that's equally mysterious, the Mariana's Web. Allegedly darker, deeper, and more dangerous than the well-known Deep Web, the Mariana's Web has become the subject of much speculation and intrigue. Despite the many surrounding its existence, concrete evidence remains as elusive as the depths of the oceanic trench itself. The internet has many layers. Most of us are familiar with the surface web, which comprises commonly accessed websites such as Google, Wikipedia, and social media platforms. Then, beneath the surface, lies the deep web, a vast expanse of encrypted and password-protected content. The dark web, a subsection of the deep web known for its illegal activities, is just the tip of the digital iceberg. If we go by popular belief, lurking even further below is the Mariana's Web, a layer so concealed that its very existence is a topic of debate. Why the intrigue? The Mariana's Web is said to be either overseen or entirely constituted by an advanced artificial intelligence system. This isn't just any AI. Rumors purport that this digital entity possesses sentience, granting it the ability to perceive, feel, and vigilantly monitor every nook and cranny of the internet. Beyond this digital overseer, Mariana's Web is believed to be an impenetrable vault, housing humankind's most enigmatic secrets. From pinpointing the exact location of the legendary city of Atlantis to holding classified intelligence databases, Mariana's Web is whispered to be the ultimate repository.
Yeah, I cut it a second time. I had to go think my eyes were being very weird. Hopefully they get back so I don't have to keep bothering with them.
Of knowledge that humanity has long sought or suppressed. Yet not all
Also, thought of this web to see where we pinpoint the thing of Atlantis. Get over the thing of Atlantis. The city of Atlantis doesn't exist, okay? Y'all losing your minds.
Believe in the benevolence or even the existence of the Mariana's Web. Some contend that it's nothing more than a fabricated legend. Claims from anonymous sources suggest that hackers, under coercion from the FBI, concocted tales of the Mariana's Web to serve as a smokescreen, diverting attention from the Bureau's crackdown on illicit dark web marketplaces. Delving deeper into its purported structure, it's believed that Mariana's Web isn't just any digital realm, but is composed of closed shell systems. This exclusive digital architecture is only penetrable through specific LAN networks and the might of quantum computers, making it almost inaccessible to even the most tech-savvy individuals. As for accessing the Mariana's Web, traditional tools like Tor fall short. Rumors suggest that entrance requires calculating a highly complex algorithm called the polymeric Falsighol derivation. Yet, there's doubt surrounding the algorithm's very existence. Furthermore, these computations can't be performed on standard computers. Quantum computers, with their unique operational requirements, are essential. One such requirement is the ability for quantum computers like the D-Wave 2000Q to function in extreme conditions, similar to a high vacuum pressure that would be vastly greater than the Earth's atmosphere. Given the specialized environment these machines require, they're primarily owned by government entities, suggesting that only a handful of people might have potentially ventured into the Mariana's Web. The Mariana's Web is a blend of compelling stories, technical possibilities, and unfounded claims. Its existence, while tantalizing, remains at the intersection of speculation and digital legend. But as we advance in our understanding and capabilities, perhaps one day, we'll unravel this enigmatic digital abyss. Number 21. The disappearance of Debani Escobar. On April 8, 2022, Debani Escobar was having fun on an evening out with two women, her friend Sarai and a girl she had met that night named Yvonne. They hailed a taxi via an app around 11 p.m. and traveled to Monterrey Nuevo León Center. They were caught on CCTV purchasing vodka from a store, and appeared cheerful and sober on camera. The young women ended up heading to El Diamante in Quinta after looking for parties. Another taxi took them there, and the driver, Juan David Cuellar, dropped them off around 1:20 a.m. Yvonne took his WhatsApp information so she could reach out to him for a potential ride back later. Entering El Diamante, they met some young men. However, by 1:30 a.m., Debany was captured by a camera exiting towards a pool. Some men seemed to be watching her, but whether they had more sinister intentions remains unclear. By 3 a.m., Debany was back at the party, but reports say that she was acting differently and even confronting Yvonne. Because Debany was acting erratically, Yvonne texted David, the driver, and asked him to come fetch Debany. Around 3:45 a.m., the camera showed Debany getting into an altercation with a man, with others joining shortly. By 3:54 a.m., David arrived, and Debany hopped in his taxi. The two were later seen arguing in the car. Near the notorious Nuevo Laredo highway, Debany got out of the car, and David took a haunting photo, which proved to be the last image of the young woman alive. The exact reasons she left the car remain shrouded in mystery, but her family suspects inappropriate.
Why does a photo look like this? This is so bizarre. Why does a photo look like... What is this part here? Because it looks like she has half her body missing. What happened? What is this photo?
Appropriate advances from David may have prompted her abrupt departure. David, defending against such allegations, took the photograph as evidence that she chose to exit the car. The chilling image showed Debany standing isolated beside an empty highway. Her arms are crossed, and a passing car's lights starkly spotlight her long brown skirt against a backdrop of mountains and an enveloping night sky. Not long after, she vanished, like many women who traveled this infamous road before her also had. After leaving Debany on the side of the road, David communicated with Yvonne, insisting he wasn't responsible for Debany anymore, and letting her know that Debany had gotten out of his car. At 2:54 p.m. the next day, he reached out to inquire about the young woman, only to be informed that no one had heard from her since the early hours of the morning. Footage from after she disembarked from the car was later uncovered and showed Debany wandering near Escobedo, ending at the Nueva Castilla motel. She appeared to seek entry into the motel's closed restaurant, then vanished from sight. On April 9th, Debany's parents reported her missing. Initially, David was the prime suspect, but he claimed he was struggling with an intoxicated Debany and that she had left his car of her own accord. She allegedly had refused to provide her home address to him and became argumentative while she was in the car, and he reached out to her friend in an effort to make it known that she was on her own. After a 12-day search, a foul smell led authorities to the Nueva Castilla motel. Despite previous searches in the area, this time Debany's body was found in the restaurant's underground tank alongside some of her personal belongings. At first, officials said it appeared that Debany fell accidentally, but a second autopsy revealed blunt force trauma and evidence of she had been murdered before being dumped into the tank. Her other belongings were scattered around the vicinity. The official handling of the case raised suspicions due to apparent errors and withheld details. Mexico was notorious for its handling of similar cases, and questions were raised about potential cover-ups in Debany's case. The mysteries persist. What caused Debany's erratic behavior? Did she consume more than just vodka? Why did she end up outside the motel? How did she access a restricted area? Was camera footage tampered with? Why were her belongings scattered? Why were authorities so hasty in releasing inaccurate information about her case? Debany Escobar's tragic case serves as a stark reminder of the rising tide of gender violence in Mexico. According to the National Missing Persons Commission, 7 women disappear daily, with a significant concentration in states like Mexico State, Morelos, Jalisco, and Nuevo León. Nuevo León, in particular, has been the epicenter of a brutal conflict between the Sinaloa and Northeast cartels. Debany became the 20th woman reported missing in just a month in this region. As Mexico grapples with this escalating crisis, the haunting image of Debany standing by the highway serves as both a tragic reminder and a rallying cry for change. Her story is a bleak testament to the urgent need for action against the spiraling gender violence and the heartbreaking tales of countless missing women. Number 20. Jack Froze's emails. Jack Froze, a 32-year-old...
We just heard about this story via Slaptam. That is hilarious. Slaptam introduced us ready and us for this here video.
from Dunmore, Pennsylvania, unexpectedly passed away in June 2011 due to a previously undiagnosed heart arrhythmia. Although he was slightly overweight, he was otherwise in good health. His sudden passing devastated his close circle, but as with any loss, time began its healing work, and life slowly resumed its normal pace. However, several months later, the relative tranquility of his loved ones was shattered when some individuals began receiving emails from Jack's dormant email address. The initial incident involved Jack's close friend Tim Hart. In November 2011, while leisurely browsing on his laptop, Tim was taken aback by a notification bearing Jack's name. The message read, subject line, "I'm watching. Body, did you hear me? I'm at your house. Clean your effing attic." Feeling a mix of terror and bewilderment, Tim scoured his home, ensuring that no one was pulling a prank. What added to the unsettling nature of the email was that it alluded to a private joke the two friends had shared about Tim's cluttered attic, something they had discussed only a few days before Jack died. Yet one isolated, eerie email doesn't confirm the paranormal. This incident might have been forgotten if not for another email sent soon after, this time to Jimmy McGraw, Jack's cousin. Subject line, "Hey Jim, Body, how you doing? I knew you were gonna break your ankle. Tried to warn you. Gotta be careful. Tell Rock for me. Great song, huh? You're welcome. Couldn't get through to him. His email didn't work." The particular detail that sent shivers down Jimmy's spine was the reference to his ankle injury, which had occurred 5 months after Jack's death. No further mysterious emails emerged. Jack's loved ones sought answers, but ultimately chose to embrace this mystery as a unique gift. Various theories emerged. One plausible explanation for the emails was that someone might have breached Jack's account, perhaps in an attempt to evoke memories or play tricks. Some thought this theory held weight after Jack's mother stated, "I saw they made some people happy, they upset some people, but I see it as people were still talking about him." However, the specific reference to Tim's cluttered attic, a private memory shared just between him and Jack, casts some doubts on this theory. An alternative perspective suggests that Tim and Jimmy might have colluded to craft this narrative. Though possible, the lack of a clear motive makes this theory less convincing. Another notion is that Jack might have scheduled these messages in advance using certain automated tools. While this could explain the pre-planned messages, it does not align with the unforeseen nature of his death or the mention of the ankle injury that happened months after Jack's death. Of course, even with multiple theories flying around the internet as to the true nature of the emails, some believe
This is what nobody will know, no one will ever get an answer to. How did these emails get sent? It's still how specific they were. It's hard to say it was someone else doing it. I don't think you can say that.
Jack Froze really was typing from beyond the grave. Number 19. Who is John Doe 29? In today's digital age, photographs hold immense power, serving as a silent testimony to moments otherwise lost in time. Among the myriad snapshots that can be found in the digital realm, some echo with urgency, imploring those who chance upon them to act. Such was the case with a particular series of photographs that surfaced in 2008 and were submitted to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, or NCMEC. These images depicted an unknown male, later dubbed John Doe 29, alongside a young girl in circumstances that hinted at potential danger for the child. Although the identity of John Doe 29 remains cloaked in mystery, the quest to uncover it has been a journey for professional investigators and civilian sleuths alike. NCMEC cautions that the man in the picture is not accused of a crime. Instead, the urgency around identifying him is because his potential knowledge could lead investigators to the child's whereabouts. The urgency to identify the individuals in these photos received a significant push in 2015 when the FBI named the unknown man as John Doe 29 through their Endangered Child Alert program. They elaborated that this man is a potential witness who might have crucial information about the location of a young girl suffering unthinkable abuse.
I'm about to say, is this child like missing or something? Is that why they're looking for it? Because if they don't know anything about the child, why are they so heavily looking into this?
However, the challenge has proved immense. Carlos Gonzalez, an engineer and digital forensic specialist, broke down the photos with a step-by-step analysis. The photographs, while revelatory, were limited in scope, but in them lay a series of clues, seemingly innocuous at first glance, that would eventually steer the trajectory of the investigation. Among these clues was a distinctive green leaf, which experts were quick to identify as a banana leaf. This seemingly trivial detail indicated to Gonzalez that the photos might have been taken in a tropical or subtropical region, with the Mediterranean area emerging as a strong contender. An additional clue lay in the unique pattern of T-block street pavers, which upon close examination revealed a reflection of the Turkish flag. This discovery was bolstered by the prevalent custom of Turkish shopkeepers to display their national flag, regardless of the nature of their business. Using advanced 3D modeling, the scene in the photographs was meticulously recreated, focusing on a poolside area. The surroundings bore an uncanny resemblance to the town of Side, located in Turkey. In a convergence of details, the sun loungers in the photographs were identified as belonging to a specific brand named Gross Filex, and notably from their Miami series. These seemingly disparate clues led to a hotel belonging to the Primasol group inside, where all elements from the pictures matched, suggesting a probable time frame of somewhere around July 2006. However, even with this remarkable sleuthing, the identity of John Doe 29 remains elusive. While the hotel was known to cater primarily to Germans and Turks during that period, this piece of information couldn't definitively pinpoint John Doe 29's or the child's nationality. If you have any information concerning this case, please contact your local law enforcement authorities or submit a tip online at tips.fbi.gov. Number 18, Scott Kleeschulte. On January 22, 2016, a user posed a gripping question on the Ask Reddit subreddit. To those who have accidentally killed someone, what went wrong? Among the flood of replies, one stood out. This still haunts me to this day. As kids, we had a hideout in this dirt cliff cove. This is the best approximation I can find on Google, only 3 times taller and probably 10 times as wide. There was a neighborhood kid who, in hindsight, was probably mentally handicapped in some way, but to us, he was just the weird, creepy kid. This was the 80s, and we weren't exactly raised PC. 3 of us were headed to our base and found creepy kid sitting at the top in our guard chair. We yelled at him to get out, and he said something like, "Make me," and started lobbing dirt clods and sticks down at us. We all ran around the side to make our way up. It gets pretty fuzzy here, but all I remember is he fell. I still remember the sound. When we got back down to check on him, he was in a very awkward position with blood coming out of his mouth. We all just freaked out and ran home, and FAIK, no one has spoken a word of this to anyone. We didn't go back for over a month and never said a word of it between us. Again, this was the 80s, so media wasn't like today. Chances are it got a small article in the newspaper B section, "Missing mentally disabled child found dead after fall," or something like that. The story captivated readers, leading to an overwhelming number of upvotes and comments. In a follow-up edit, the storyteller expressed surprise at the attention and tried to clarify certain points in the story, writing, "Well, I didn't expect to wake up to this. I have no idea why we didn't collectively tell our parents. We all just booked it for our respective homes without saying a word. I think it was mainly because he was the weird kid, and we all thought that would get us in trouble somehow. No, I don't think we were directly responsible. Indirectly, maybe. Again, it's fuzzy, and all I remember is us throwing sticks at each other. I have tried to find any record of him to no avail. I remember the neighborhood kids from those days' first names, but not the last. I have since moved a few hundred miles away and didn't keep in touch. I don't even remember the creepy kid's first name. I have looked blindly for any record of the kid and have spent hours on Facebook trying to find my old friends, but haven't found anything yet. No, I don't know if he actually died or not that day. All I have to go off of is my mom mentioning him going missing and us not seeing him around after that. When we finally went back to our base over a month later, there was nothing out of the ordinary. No police tape or anything like that. I don't remember any cops canvassing the area asking about him. The captivating nature of this confession prompted a Reddit detective to dig deeper. Whether using tech know-how or just piecing together hints, they managed to trace some key details about the original poster. Claiming they had figured out where OP lived, they deduced it was near St. Louis. The internet detective was able to dig up a specific case from that era and location and posted to ask, was it Scott Kleeschulte? He went missing in 1988 in St. Charles, Missouri. near where you grew up and currently reside, correct? Scott Kleeschulte was a young boy from St. Charles, Missouri. In 1988, children often played freely in the neighborhood, and Scott's favorite spot was the trails, an area with hiking paths, a creek, and an extensive system of caves and tunnels that had been dug by kids over generations. On June 8, 1988, Scott vanished. It was his last day in first grade, and his parents had planned to celebrate it with him in the evening. That day, he came home from school, changed clothes, and went out to play. Stacy, his sister, last saw him on a nearby hill. Soon after, a storm rolled in, which was significant since Scott was known to be afraid of storms. His family assumed he'd gone to a friend's house to wait it out. By evening, his family realized he was missing. After searching familiar areas and speaking to Scott's friends, they contacted the police around 8 p.m. A comprehensive search commenced, including the trails. Scent tracking dogs followed Scott's trail to a construction site, but the path ended there. Some thought he might have sought refuge in the caves during the storm, prompting a thorough search of them. No trace of Scott was found, and the caves were eventually destroyed. Scott's case periodically re-emerged in the media, especially when other local children went missing. In 2007, the case of Michael J. Devlin, who kidnapped 2 boys, caused people to speculate if he might be linked to Scott's disappearance. This brought clarity to some previous information, like a sighting of Scott post-storm. There were new leads in 2016, but nothing conclusive was publicly shared. Scott's case remains unsolved and has since faded from widespread media attention. After the OP was doxxed and his comments connecting him to Scott Kleeschulte hit the media, law enforcement quickly reassured the public that they would investigate this, as well as any and every other lead that they received. Within a few days, it was announced that the Reddit post had no connection with missing Scott. But that begs the question, who fell off that cliff? Since the original storm, the original poster deleted his comments and has not made any further efforts to help identify the boy or...
Yeah, cause my man just realized when people found out what's gonna happen, his ass is probably still gonna be shit. And instead of feeling guilty about it, he's still about to save his ass to realize what actually happened.
Clear his name. If you have any information regarding the disappearance of Scott Kleeschulte, please get in touch with the St. Charles Police Department at 314-949-3300. Number 17. The murder of Amanda Fleetwood. Amanda Fleetwood was the embodiment of youthful zest and ambition. At just 20 years old, her radiant spirit touched all those around her. With dreams of teaching English in the far-flung shores of Japan, she had big ambitions for her next steps in life. This charming young woman had the world at her feet, with the love of a doting girlfriend and the thrill of a new waitress job to support her as she worked towards her goals. But tragically, as sometimes happens, destiny cast a shadow on Amanda's dreams. The day of July 10th dawned just like...
Oh! It happened on my birthday. My birthday, 2004. I turned 3 years old on this day. Yeah, and then this woman had her life taken. Damn.
Like any other, with the promise of new beginnings, that early morning, Amanda, along with her close friend Johnny Tromp, decided to make a quick stop at the Bazaar Times store. As they casually browsed through the aisles, little did they know that this ordinary act would have extraordinary consequences. A stranger, seemingly harmless, approached them. While most would find such an interaction mundane, the brief conversation with this man would lead to unforeseeable and tragic consequences. The stranger initially struck up a casual conversation with the duo inside the store and later requested a ride home. Amanda and Johnny initially declined, but when the man was insistent, the friends eventually relented. The ride was short, with Johnny at the wheel and Amanda by his side. The atmosphere was nonchalant as the stranger directed them to an apartment complex nearby. As they approached, however, the stranger revealed a concealed weapon. Without hesitation, he shot both Amanda and Johnny. The assailant, perhaps believing he had dispatched both his victims, began rummaging through Johnny's belongings. But Johnny, through sheer determination and will, managed to escape despite his severe injuries. Summoning his strength, he crashed his car into a nearby construction site, drawing attention and, fortunately, immediate assistance. Tragically, while Jonathan survived this horrendous ordeal, Amanda, The young woman with dreams as vast as the ocean lost her battle to her injuries just days later at Ben Taub Hospital. The initial investigation seemed to move quickly. Surveillance footage from bizarre times painted a chilling picture. The attacker had been dropped off by a modern blue SUV, after which he lurked in the parking lot, almost as if lying in wait. He later trailed Amanda and Jonathan into the store, with footage capturing their seemingly friendly interaction. Although the video quality was clear and Jonathan's testimony corroborated the sequence of events, the assailant's identity remained unknown. Described as a man in his 20s, with a stocky build, standing at about 5 feet 9 inches, his distinctive attire of a dark t-shirt, baseball cap, and a beige jacket tied around his waist didn't lead to any concrete leads. One potential piece of evidence, a juice box left in Jonathan's car, foreign to both friends, provided a sliver of hope, but the DNA it held remains unmatched in any database. If you have any information regarding this unsolved crime, you can contact Officer Alan Brown at the Houston Police Department Homicide Division at 713-308-3666 or 281-352-0633 or Crime Stoppers at 713-308-TIPS. Number 16, Solar Plexus Clown Glider.
This will be the last one for this video. So we're going to do 15 to the end. Too mellow.
Solar Plexus Clown Glider, SPCG, is the collective term used to describe a variety of paranormal phenomena linked to an entity believed to corrupt individuals.
When? When has this ever... I've never heard of this until now. I have never heard of this.
Through their solar plexus chakra. This terminology, originally emerging from 80s New Age circles,
This sounds ridiculous.
gained notoriety during the late 90s due to a horror-themed email chain which insinuated that merely reading or hearing the phrase solar plexus clown glider would render one vulnerable to its effects. Some attribute the infection to viewing certain unsettling black and white images that have circulated online. The essence of the SPCG is not physical. Rather, it's rooted in language and imagery. Victims of the SPCG describe being plagued by vivid hallucinations, glitches in reality, and intense emotional turmoil. This infection bears similarities to the paranoia and withdrawal symptoms experienced by meth addicts, from continuous hallucinations to full-blown psychosis. The solar plexus, as per Hindu tradition, is a nexus for both uplifting and detrimental emotions. This chakra, one among 7 primary chakras, governs sentiments ranging from determination and ambition to envy, resentment, fear, and aggression. The notion of malevolent forces feeding on such negative energies is not exclusive to chakra theories, but is recognized globally in various traditions and forms. It's within the Hindu framework that the term was first adopted by the New Age community in the 80s. Some have even theorized that the term might be an outcome of a CIA experiment linked to the notorious MK Ultra program. Although its moniker might suggest a clown-like appearance, the SPCG's form is mutable. At times, it might take on a menacing jester-like guise, while other accounts liken it to the unsettling contours of slugs or
I don't like the look of this fucking thing at all. That's fucking weird. I don't like the look of that at all. Get that off my screen.
snakes. It seems the SPCG can defy the confines of three-dimensional space, akin to the cryptic Black Stick Men. Assigning it a singular physical description may be a futile endeavor, as the true nature of this entity is linked to the malevolent impact of certain phrases and images. Some consider the SPCG...
God, I don't like those 2 photos. Nope. Don't like them at all. Not a fan of that. Nope. Not at all. Get that. I don't like that at all.
...to be among the pioneering internet myths, further popularized by a malevolent Trojan virus that unexpectedly displayed a startling image on the victim's screen. This computer-based scare, some speculate, laid the groundwork for the legends around the SPCG. The narrative mirrors the folkloric concept of ostentation, where myths are acted out or reenacted, the classic example being the Bloody Mary mirror ritual. Various first-hand encounters with an SPCG have been documented over the years, from podcaster Jason Carpenter's unsettling experience in a courtroom with an illusory cobra to tales of translucent entities intent on possession. The narratives span a broad spectrum. While some believe these encounters are the byproducts of drugs amplifying latent psychic abilities, others view them as undeniable confrontations with the unknown. There are skeptics, of course, who consider the SPCG to be nothing more than a cruel internet hoax, or perhaps the memory of a malignant computer virus. Maybe I'm 20 years too late, but you should really have forwarded that chain email. Number
Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this reaction video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank y'all for watching. I'll see y'all for the next one.